Perfect. Good job, Reebok, for having morals clause in her contract and enforcing by pulling it. Carrington is a bully that the league apparently is protecting. Wake up, WNBA, before someone get really hurt. You'll get sued because we Americans won't stand for the abuse. Now, it states here, Reebok is reportedly dropping their endorsement for DiJonai Carrington after she attacked.
We just witnessed what looked like a multi-million-dollar empire collapsing in less than 60 seconds. There is a golden rule in professional basketball. You can talk trash to the media, and you can play the villain on the court, but the moment your actions begin threatening major corporate sponsorships, the situation can change instantly. Today, the WNBA didn't simply hand out a fine. According to the claims in this story, corporate giant Reebok supposedly made a shocking move involving DiJonai Carrington. If you thought the on-court rivalries were intense, wait until you hear what allegedly happened behind the scenes. DiJonai Carrington was portrayed as believing she could repeatedly target Caitlin Clark and get physical with Sophie Cunningham without serious consequences. However, the narrative claims otherwise. The story alleges that Reebok didn't quietly move on from DiJonai Carrington, but instead made a dramatic business decision, allegedly redirecting major financial attention towards Sophie Cunningham. Standing behind the storyline is Caitlin Clark, adding even more fuel to the controversy. Welcome back to Clark Fever Hoop Buddy. Today, we're breaking down the alleged financial fallout and the viral basketball drama surrounding the league. To understand why DiJonai Carrington is at the center of this controversy, we have to rewind to the moments that sparked the debate. Throughout the season, fans have discussed her physical play against the Indiana Fever, including controversial moments involving Caitlin Clark. However, the biggest talking point became the hard foul involving Sophie Cunningham. When DiJonai Carrington delivered the physical hit, the moment immediately exploded across social media, with fans debating whether it crossed the line. Her reaction afterward, including standing over Sophie Cunningham and showing confidence, only intensified the online discussion. What followed became another viral chapter in the ongoing WNBA rivalry, with fans on both sides arguing over whether the play was simply competitive basketball or something more controversial.
Very much real for in the field, for them pockets. That's what I like to see. Pockets getting hit hard, bro. Hard. Because somebody need to hold these players accountable for the stupidity they have been putting out, because it has been a lot of stupidity. And to add even more insult to injury, thousands of people are calling for Reebok to drop their endorsement for DiJonai Carrington after she attacked Sophie Cunningham. Now this was from earlier this morning. Oh yes. Now this right here was from this morning as well. So as you guys can see, there might be a little merit to this argument. Just might be. DiJonai Carrington has cast a check that has written a check she just can't cash. Now, Emmanuel Acho had some words for DiJonai.
First and foremost, respect to DiJonai, because I actually appreciate somebody that can come to a conversation with a little bit of intellect. So I appreciate that first and foremost. Kudos to you, DiJonai Carrington. And also, I do not stand with those that are coming at you and attacking your personhood. Attack the action, but don't attack the person. So let me also preface with that.
But what DiJonai Carrington allegedly didn't realize was that executives at Reebok headquarters were watching the game closely. Corporate sponsors generally want to protect their brand image, and any controversy involving a player can create serious public relations concerns. Brand analysts were reportedly monitoring the social media reaction in real time, and the backlash quickly became a major talking point. Fans began tagging Reebok and calling for boycotts, arguing that the company should reconsider its relationship with DiJonai Carrington because of the controversy surrounding her on-court behavior toward Caitlin Clark and her teammates. The situation created a growing PR storm online. While DiJonai Carrington may have been trying to establish a tough, competitive image, critics argued that the controversy could damage her commercial appeal. What happened next became another major point of discussion across social media. According to the storyline, reports from inside the arena described DiJonai Carrington sitting at her locker, calmly checking her phone, when her agent suddenly called. The call was reportedly serious. Rather than being a simple warning or suspension, the story claimed that Reebok was ending the endorsement relationship. The allegations further claimed that the company planned to remove her from promotional merchandise and future campaigns. As the story spread, the locker room atmosphere was described as going completely silent while the seriousness of the alleged situation began to sink in.
and simply assume that we should try to understand what you're talking about. You didn't say much for us to figure out what you're talking about, so you allowed the whole world to run with it. Last thing I will say is very simply, so many people have asked you, amongst others, well then what are you talking about? We still have yet to get a response. All that DiJonai, you have told us is, hey, I wasn't talking about the foul. Well then, what were you talking about? I refuse to believe, on behalf of everybody that is confused, we're not all idiots and you are the one genius in the room. That's just not the case. So I say this with all respect. I respect your intelligence. I respect your response. And you currently on the court hooping, so respect to you. But there's still a lot of errors in your thought process and thought pattern.
So that was Emmanuel Acho. Now, Fox News had a situation to where they wasn't backing down either with DiJonai Carrington. Let me play a little bit of this right here. So this was Fox News this morning speaking about this DiJonai Carrington situation. And let's give it a buzz.
Responding to the white privilege post, saying in part, I've never once claimed that the assessment of the foul was white privilege. That was your assumption. Try exercising your critical thinking skills. I know you studied psych. I would never use that term as a rhetorical weapon, knowing the historical and social weight it holds without having the proper evidence to substantiate it. Sage, she posted that and is now claiming it didn't apply.
Then, according to the story, DiJonai Carrington reportedly became extremely upset. Reports claimed that she was shouting into her phone, demanding answers from executives, and throwing her gear around the locker room. The narrative suggested that she suddenly realized how damaging the controversy could be to her career and future earnings. She reportedly attempted to blame the referees and the media, but critics argued that she could not avoid responsibility for her own actions. The story then claimed that Reebok had officially ended its relationship with her, allegedly without a public farewell or major announcement, leaving DiJonai Carrington frustrated and embarrassed. But if that wasn't enough, the biggest twist in the storyline came next. Reebok allegedly didn't simply want to distance itself from DiJonai Carrington. The company supposedly wanted to make a powerful statement to the wider WNBA audience. Usually, when a major brand ends a player's endorsement deal, the remaining marketing budget is simply redirected or reduced. According to this narrative, however, something much more dramatic was about to happen.
And posture about, we won't allow things to be politicized, as if you can control it. There's only one way to control it. Have more control over your product. Have a clear delineation as to what defines a woman, what defines a female. Otherwise, you're gonna have cats 6'8" with goatees walking in your league or claiming they're gonna walk in your league. You can deny them entry, you can refuse to draft them, but you're gonna open yourself up to potential legal action until you clarify what the hell is going on. Which is the purpose of Enos Cancer Freedom and Royce White, especially Royce White, who's running for a Republican seat in the United States Senate. He wants to compel you to make a decision. He wants to compel you to define what a woman is. He wants to compel you or expose your unwillingness to do so. Because from a political perspective, it just heightens and illuminates the dichotomy that exists between both sides of the aisle. And everybody in sports wants to sit up there. We want to play games. We want to play games. We don't want stuff politicized. Well, damn it, be clear. You're supposed to ward this off at the pass. You're supposed to make sure that it is clear where your rules stand. Women, how come you didn't write in your language those born female? How come you didn't make that clear? Because if you were born a female, even if you're transitioning to being a female, because you weren't born a female, that would make you ineligible to enter the WNBA. Why didn't you do that? This whole issue has been fomenting and gaining steam and traction for years. It was used in the presidential election. It was used in the midterms before the presidential election. It's gonna be used in the midterms this November. And if the right has their way, it's gonna be brought up again in 2028. Where you at? Where you at? Kathy Engelbert, you're the commissioner of the WNBA. Where you at? You don't know this is coming? You Cheryl Reeves, you the coach of the Minnesota Lynx. Watching your girl drop 10 3-pointers last night, putting on a show. That's about celebrating her. Ain't nobody gonna celebrate you. You gotta be careful with the things that you say and the things that you promote with your t-shirts, your jackets, or anything else.
In what the story describes as a bold corporate move, Reebok allegedly shifted its attention toward the very player at the center of the controversy, Sophie Cunningham. According to the claim, Sophie Cunningham received a phone call offering a reported $1 million endorsement opportunity, creating a dramatic twist in the storyline. The narrative portrays it as instant karma, suggesting that the player involved in the controversial foul ultimately became the one benefiting from the alleged business opportunity. The story further credits the so-called Caitlin Clark effect, arguing that brands recognize the enormous attention surrounding anyone connected with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. By allegedly partnering with Sophie Cunningham, the narrative suggests that Reebok could tap into the passionate Fever fan base and the growing WNBA spotlight. When DiJonai Carrington supposedly learned about the alleged deal, the story claims she was furious, especially because Sophie Cunningham was portrayed as receiving an opportunity that had previously been associated with her. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was presented as benefiting from the situation without directly being involved in the business decision. Ultimately, the story frames the entire episode as a lesson in instant karma. Controversial on-court behavior can create serious public discussion, while major brands must carefully consider their image, partnerships, and long-term marketing strategy. As for Sophie Cunningham, the alleged endorsement would represent a major opportunity and another viral chapter in the ongoing WNBA conversation.
Specifically with what's coming down the pike over the next 2+ years? Specifically when you have a president in office that feels like the sports community, by and large, turned against him? And you got people who do things because they believe it might ingratiate them with him and his supporters? Read the tea leaves. Play chess, not checkers.
Complaining about what they're trying to do, like Stephanie White did right there in Indiana. Right there. A place where former Vice President Mike Pence was once the governor. Right there. She's right in that city. She's right around those folks. You know what their political ideology is. You know how they feel about certain things. You get it. Travel the country, which they do. The WNBA. Different places, different people. Different ideological backgrounds and beliefs and tilts. It's all there. But you want to act like you don't know. In my opinion, it's inexcusable.
You know what my philosophy is? Bring the rain. Bring the rain. When there's an issue to be tackled, tackle it.